So the race gets underway for the second race of the day for the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Locost Championship, and it's an even start between the two front row men, but it's going to be Martin West that just makes the slightly better of the starts of the two of them. Then it's going to be the number 2 car of Murray Shepherd that slots in behind Gadd into third place, and this big grid of cars, about 40 of them, all turning their way through Redgate corner for the first time. It's going to be a 13-minute plus 1 lap race. Earlier on today it was a win for Martin West from Tom Robinson, but only by 16/100ths of a second, so we'll see what Tom Robinson can do here. He started on row 5 of the grid for this one. So it's Martin West at the moment leading from Tom Gadd, Murray Shepherd third, and it looks like Carl Roysenars has made a good start from row 6 to be 4th.
It was an extraordinary race earlier on from the Locals. Let's see how they can conclude the day here at Donington Park. Great 750 Motor Club race day, and Locost always provides the entertainment. And it's Martin West that leads his way through the Claims corner. There's one off at least up there at Redgate, but let's watch the leaders. There's 3 of them just trying to break away here. West, then it's Tom Gadd, and in third position Murray Shepherd. Carl Roysenars was quick there through Coppice corner, trying to get back into the slipstream. The low-cost car, 1300cc cross-flow engines, get a huge slipstream. You see the top 2, are they working together possibly? Tom Gadd, yes, not challenging into the S's. The 2 of them trying to break away, but Murray Shepherd's not allowing that to happen in the ex-championship winning car when it was in the hands of Ian Alley. And in fact, it's Rob Fagg there in 4th place, isn't it? The ex-Stock Hatch and Hot Hatch racer in his first weekend in low cost. He's challenging there into the hairpin, trying to get ahead. He's trying to go up, and 2 of them have gone up the inside. In fact, Murray Shepherd's gone past Tom Gadd, and Rob Fagg's done it too, I think, just looking out the window there. So it was a poor run through the corner there for Tom Gadd, who was running in 2nd place. You can see he's in fact only just lost the place to Murray Shepherd. Then you've got Rob Fagg there right on the tail, coming to complete lap 1.
Yeah, it is. So Martin West, the race one and winner, it is that leads then from the number 2 car of Murray Shepherd in 2nd place. Then it's Tom Gadd in 3rd. 4th then is Rob Fagg. 5th place is Greg Smith, so he's got his car back out after that contact with Mark Burton in race 1. Carl Roysenars is in 6th place. Mark Burton, the reigning champion, is 7th. Then Matt Grow and David Mason and Jack Johns running out the top 10, but almost certainly the order has changed by the time I finished saying that. The leading 4 though are together. Any gap that Martin West had has gone, because Murray Shepherd doesn't try to run alongside him, gets past him through the corner curves and takes the lead of the race. So that's number 2, Murray Shepherd, who was on the podium earlier on, took 3rd place. He's already into the lead here. I'm just looking to see where Tom Robinson's running. He's in 11th place at the moment. He was P2 in race 1. He started this race in 9th, so he's gone back a little bit. Ooh. If anything, a big moment there. Who was that? That's the number 19 car, I think, isn't it? That's Daniel Garrett that's had a big moment there, but survived, I'm pleased to say. Leaders then heading off up towards Coppice with 10 minutes plus 1 lap of this race left to go. It's Shepherd from West, from Gadd, and then the 2 blue cars are now getting together. So Rob Fagg and Carl Roysenars are there. It's the ex-Clive Mackenzie car, I think, that Rob Fagg's in 4th place, isn't he? And then it's Greg Smith in 6th. Fagg trying to make a move here down the inside into the Fogarty S's on Gadd, and that is going to work, I think. Yes, it does. So it's Shepherd, West, Gadd, Fagg and Gadd now, with Roysenars right on the tail of them.
Absolutely, down towards the Melbourne hairpin they come then. Who's going to challenge here? Well, it's about 3 wide. Rob Fagg defending there from Tom Gadd, and he looks up the inside of Martin West, in fact, the winner from earlier on, and he goes through. So Rob Fagg into 2nd place. He was at the back of the top 10 in the earlier race. He's running right up there, but Martin West fights back again. He's up the inside. Tom Gadd's going to follow him through. If you get offline in a low-cost race, you don't lose 1 place, you lose more, and that's what Rob Fagg's found out. He's lost a couple as they complete the lap. Murray Shepherd has a bit of a gap, but that's the gap Martin West had on the last lap, and they're all going to close in on the leader by the time they get to Redgate, and there's a whole long line of them as they make their way into the first corner here at Donington Park. There's a challenge there. That's Matt Grow going up the inside and getting past Greg Smith, so Smith loses another place. And it's Mark Burton who's behind the multiple race winner from last year, the champion from last year, Mark Burton, but through the Craner curves, no challenge for the lead this time. Murray Shepherd, car number 2, leads it as they turn their way onto the old hairpin. There's no real gap, is there, in the top 20?
There's not. I mean, in the first race, the top 13 at the end were covered by less than 10 seconds. We might be on to even beat that very close finish this time through. There's the 4 cars for the lead, and then it's getting a little bit closer now for 4th and 5th places, isn't it? With for 5th and 6th place, I should say. as they climb their way up towards Coppice Corner. It's Matt Grow, isn't it, that's now made his way up into 6th position there. It's still Murray Shepherd. I can't remember anyone leading for quite this long during a low-cost race yet today, as Murray Shepherd has done in this race. It's a great effort from him to stay ahead. I bet it won't last much longer, because they're coming down to the Fogarty-Esses now, down the exhibition straight. Big toe here. Who's going to jink out of it? It's Martin West in 2nd place, Tom Gadd in 3rd. He's blimey, he's done it. I didn't think that was going to happen. He's held on to the lead of the race as they went into the Fogarty-Esses. West in behind him, then it's Gadd, then it's Fag and Roycenars and Matt Grow rounding out the top 6 at the moment. There goes Rob Fag, there goes Matt Grow, both of them up the inside of their rivals, and I think they both might have picked off places by the looks of it. Yes, I think they have. So it looks like Rob Fag up into the top 3, and we've now got one that stopped, I'm afraid, between Schwanzkirch and McLean's, or just at McLean's really. So we'll keep an eye on what goes on there. The leaders are turning their way out of the Goddard's hairpin up towards Redgate Corner they go. It is still Murray Shepherd that's leading them. Martin West in 2nd, Rob Fag 3rd. They're covered by a 2nd. Tom Gadd, Matt Grow and Carl Roycenars. That driver probably ought not to be standing right by his car, and he ought to be getting to the safe side of the barrier, but the red flags do now go out, which is not a complete surprise to me, with that car parked on the circuit, with the big field of low costs coming round. Obviously a mechanical issue for that car. I couldn't quite spot the number on that. I don't know if we can work out on our live timing who might have gone missing.
I think there was somebody in the second half, and therefore it's harder to tell. Paul Clark did the fastest lap of the race on that last lap in 12th position. So, and you mentioned how close it was. 4 seconds separated 13 cars at the red flag.
The driver's got back into the car, and the marshals are pushing him back down the hill, which makes more sense than trying to defy gravity, and hopefully therefore they will be able to get him to a position of safety relatively quickly. Another car has come to a stop as well further around the lap with the Teenage Rampage livery. Not sure what that means on the back of it. That's another of our novice drivers, as you can tell from the cross on the back of that car. So how long had we had? We'd had 6 minutes and 40 seconds, so we're just coming up to half race distance when the red lights went on.
Real shame, because it's not an incident that's caused the red flag, is it? In the past we have had crashes that cause red flags in low-cost races, but that's not been the case today. It's just been unfortunate mechanical problem there, and it's a real shame, because as we were saying, it was so close. It was a bit strange that last lap, because everyone was sort of following each other, weren't they? There weren't really any big moves, perhaps like we saw in the previous race, and that's how I think it seems to be. As soon as one person makes a move, everybody goes for it, don't they? But if everybody thinks, oh, we'll be sensible at this corner, then everybody sort of just stayed in line. But as soon as one car moves out, it all goes a bit crazy.
Right, the car that was off there was number 83, which was Jake Boydell. Now, he didn't take the restart, certainly, of the earlier race, so that may well have been Jake Boydell's, one of his very first races, and so he, unfortunately, has had a mechanical issue by the looks of it, which has ruled him out, and he couldn't find a safe place to stop, so that has brought about the race stoppage, unfortunately. Cars making their way round the circuit at a reduced pace, clearly. Do we have marshals down on the grid? We have one marshal and one car there as well to receive them.
We'll have to wait for a new grid this time, won't we, for a restart?
Yeah, because we'd have more than 2 laps when the red flags go out. So what the Motorsport UK rulebook says in that situation is that you look at the running order at the last lap that everybody completed, which I think will have been lap 2 in this case, and so it will be a new grid. So I think that'll be Murray Shepherd that will be on pole position, won't it, for that one? He's been leading for more than a lap.
What it matters to be on pole position in one of these low-cost races here, particularly here at Donington Park this weekend. At some circuits you can kind of keep a lead, keep a defensive line, but I think around here at Donington it's just not a possibility with the slipstream effect around here. It's sort of a race, a tactical race in some ways to the end, particularly if there's 2 or 3 of you. Perhaps you can do that a bit better when you've got a big group like we've had there. I don't think really much tactics come into it, does it? You just got to try and keep at the front and be there when it matters on the last lap, when the checkered flag comes out. And that went to Martin West early on. Is that another car that's pulled off?
It is, and if it turns around, we'll see the number, and it is 28, which has a Dave Berry kind of ring to it to me, and indeed it was.
Slightly different colour scheme, I think, on that car. from last year. Of course, that's sort of learn that at the beginning of every year, don't we, with the new colour schemes that come out.
All right, I can see a grid sheet has been produced. A marshal is heading towards the cars, and the start line marshals have now got to do quite an epic job of trying to get them all gridded up again. And it's not the work of a moment, this, because they won't have come around quite in the right order. It's relatively easy when they come out of the assembly area, because someone has already sorted them out for the start line marshals, but in this situation, of course, the start line marshals have got to get them all in the right order first of all, and then put in the right position.
Apparently that car that went off had an engine failure on the exit of the old hairpin, so that's what caused the stoppage. I don't think we quite worked out who that was.
Jake Boydell was the one at the between the old hairpin, eventually stopped at McLean's.
So that was a shame for him, so he's got some work to do before the next round for the Locost Championship.
Which again, well, actually, no, it's a little while away, isn't it? It's at Croft in June, so there's what, 5 or 6 weeks to go before that one.
And that will all be live streamed too. So if you've enjoyed Locost action this weekend and the rest of the day, we've got 2 days of
750 Motor Club racing on the live stream from Croft.
The 1st and 2nd of June.
Do tune back for that if you're watching from afar, wherever you've been watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the live stream during the course of the day, and if you've been watching here at Donington Park, hope you've enjoyed it as well. So start line marshals doing a fantastic job getting the cars into position relatively quickly, and again, because these cars don't have a green flag lap, we should be able to get the race start underway fairly swiftly. So I can see out of my window that on pole position it's the Murray Shepherd car. Next to him is Martin West, second row Tom Gadd and Rob Fagg, third row will be Carl Roysenars, and then that is Greg Smith, isn't it?
Carl Roysenars had a really good first part to the race because he started 12th, so now been up there on row 3. We saw it earlier, he made good starts too, so he's going to be somebody to watch out for, I should think, on the run down towards Redgate on that first lap. Of course, somebody else to look out for is how far Louis Wall got up the grid, because he started at the back, he got inside the top 10 earlier on. He was a winner last year. I think he won his first ever Locost race, didn't he?
At Alton Park in the wet. Yeah, he'd done some long circuit gearbox karting in the past.
Here he is. He'll be lining up on, or it'll be opposite us. So that'd be row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I think. So he's sort of past half the grid.
Well, if it had gone another lap on, it was up to 17, so it'd have been another row further forward. But yeah, so Louis Wall, we'll see what he can do from there. The man from Cirencester. Just carrying on where I left off, Matt Groh is going to be on row 4 next to Mark Burst. And then you've got Tom Robinson, who actually starting in the same place that he started originally. And actually with the same person next to him, which is David Mason, which is quite remarkable. One of the ones that lost out then is Jack Johns, number 97, who lines upon the inside of row 6, having started originally on row 4, and then next to him will be Pete Hatfield, that will be number 6. And Paul Clark, who just in the fastest lap of the race, has Gary Brandon next to him. And the 29 car is Jeff Peake, and he has got 17, which is Hobie Vickerman alongside him. Then it's 36. Next up, which is
James Lewis Barnes, who we saw share with Sam McKee, who we saw out earlier in Club Enduro in the past in road sports.
Yeah, and he's got Sean Brame next to him. Sean Brame having rebuilt the car over the winter. And then you come to Louis Wall. So we're on to row 10 there, aren't we? And I'll just leave it there. Jonathan Lissitter, another of the newcomers, is next to him on the grid. So the Marshal's doing a sterling job here to get most of the cars already gridded up. There's still, some of them still round the corner at Goddard's, but when we get going, it will be a reduced race distance, no doubt.
Say a big thanks to all the Marshals, because it's been a long day for them here at Donington Park. Been quite a few jobs for them to do as well, but I hope they've enjoyed it, because for where we've been standing in, it's been absolutely a cracking day of 750 Motor Club racing. It's what we expect, really, isn't it, when we come to a 750 Motor Club meeting? But with the added feature of having the pictures, thanks to Alpha Live, all the way around the circuit, it's really added another element of being able to follow the races and see in all the action.
Absolutely right. So last few cars coming into position, and hopefully this time the start line marshals won't be called into service again after this. I'm sure they'd already started to take the boots off probably after they race got underway the first time round, but if they've seen low-cost racing before, they'd have known that's not a very wise thing to do on this occasion, though. No contact incidents as such, just a retirement.
1 minute board has been shown, so Louis Wall, though, may cause a delayed start.
Oh, well, he's got fluid pouring out of his car, hasn't he? So he's now taking it on himself to move that car off the circuit. One of the scrutineers is having a word with him. All the start line marshals are now further back on the grid, getting the rest of the field into place. So if you look on the live stream, you can see a man pushing a car halfway down the grid. There it goes, off to the right-hand side of the circuit, training fluid as it goes. So, well, that's the end of the hope there of seeing Louis Wall come up the field, maybe for another top 10. He had a 7th place earlier on, but he's going to be into retirement here. Well, the marshals are just going to dash across, and I think they'll try and... There's a gap there. Let's try and push that car into. Just seeing if what's come out of the car is problematic. In terms of it being slippery, I don't think it is. The driver is also coming back across, and now back to his car again with the marshal, just to make sure it's been left in safe way. Yeah, I think they're just going to try and pull it back a bit further. I'm not quite sure what that achieved, but nevertheless, it has been moved back about 6 inches from where it was before. Anyway, I think what we've decided to do then is that's in a safe enough position that we'll be able to get this race underway. Louis Wall's vacating the grid. He's not flying off in a jet plane, though, as that picture might indicate. Probably wishes he was, though. And the rest of the marshals getting off the grid. So, very shortly, we will see the 5-second board, which we do now, and the race, therefore, about to get underway for the second time of asking. Final race of the day here at Donington Park. The Demon Tweeks Yokohama Locost Championship is go, and it's a good start by Martin West this time from the outside of the front row of the grid. A pretty tardy start by Murray Robinson from pole position, in all honesty, so that's his race lead wasted somewhat. Tom Gadd trying to make up ground on the inside line, and I think he'll do so. He'll go second. He might not stay in second for very much longer, though, because one of the blue cars, I think Tom Gadd was... sorry, not Tom Gadd, he's Tom Gadd, but the H4 car of Carl Roysenars making its way through. So that car's up to second place then. Gadd is third. Fourth looks to be Rob Fagg, and then fifth is the man that started on pole position, Murray Shepherd.
It's Paul Clark right up there too. He's made an extraordinary start from what was row 6. Originally, he started on row 18, so it's been a brilliant run so far from Paul Clark. Let's see how he gets on. It looks like somebody ailing in the mid-pack. Martin West did have a big lead. That is gone into McLean's. Cole Roussenad's there in second place, and Martin West goes off the road over the curb, so that's going to allow Cole Roussenad's, I think, to take the lead, is it? Up towards Coppice Corner, maybe. Lots of speed on the outside line, though, allowed Martin West to keep in front somehow.
Rob Fagg also has made up a place there, I think. I think it looks like he was about to go into third position as they made their way through Coppice. There's one going off very wide through the gravel trap there. I don't know if we'll see that car rejoin the circuit. Green flags waving on the exit of the corner, but for the lead of the race, it's side by side. It's Tom Gadd that's gone through. I think it might be the 74 car that's gone through and has stopped, I'm afraid. Hopefully they'll get that moved. Paul Clark making up more ground of the 82 car. Surely he's on the grass there trying to find a way down. He very nearly was, and he brakes very late. He brakes very late, and he just about clips the back of the leading car, goes too deep. There's a schmozzle behind involving Murray Shepherd, David Mason and Peter Hatfield. There's 3 of them all tangled up there down at the Melbourne hairpin. Now, can they disentangle themselves and allow the race to continue? So, in all of this, that's Tom Robinson making up ground, and Carl Roysenars as well. He's left his braking very late as well for the Melbourne hairpin. So, for the Goddard hairpin, it's Tom Gadd with a big lead now. Tom Robinson from row 5 is in second place. Then it's Rob Fagg third, Carl Roysenars fourth, Paul Clark fifth, Mark Burton is in 6th position. It looks like all of those cars from the Melbourne hairpin have sorted themselves out.
Paul Clark's lost his nose cone in all of that. Of course, he was the one that really initiated it all, wasn't it? Going up the inside on the grass. It was all calm before the red flag, and it's all gone crazy. I guess because everyone knows this is very much a shortened restart. So there's some side-by-side action. That's Paul Clark in his shortened low cost, going side-by-side with the reigning champion, Mark Burton, up the inside, and he gains a place. I think he's 5th now. It was a full second that Tom Gadd had at the end of lap 1. I think that is coming down, though.
Yeah, the car we saw off at Coppice earlier on. That was Alexander Artis, number 72, but he's continued half a lap down from everyone else. Here's a challenge on the second place car then. Forgotten that Tom Gadd was just a...
Where's he gone?
No, I was right, wasn't I? I was right, Josh, you doubted me. And it's Tom Robinson that's gone back into the lead of the race. Tom Gadd then is in third. No, make that second position. He's got back ahead of Rob Fagg. Carl Roysenars now is going to take the fight to him as well as they come down the exhibition straight on lap 2. And I can see a last lap board being prepared, so it looks like it might just be a 3-lap sprint this time.
Martin West dropped down to about 6th, but he's challenging Paul Clark and he goes through into the S's. But Tom Gadd was a full second ahead. That is how much you can slipstream in this category. You can be that far back and still get past halfway through the lap. Down into the hairpin they come. There's Rob Fagg and his second ever local race. There's 94 Martin West, who's done a rather lot more. There's Mark Burton, who was a champion last year. And behind him having a strong run is Jeff Peake. He was much further back on the grid too. And it's absolutely side by side coming down towards the final corner here. Tom Robinson's on the inside. Big lock up from Rob Fagg. And he clips Tom Gadd, who goes for a spin. He goes right round and everybody's going to have to go out wide. So Rob Fagg there was trying to defend, but he ended up locking up and collecting the car in front. So it's a big lead for Tom Robinson.
As he goes on to the last lap of the race, and surely now Tom Robinson, who's just in the best lap of the race, well, it was the first flying lap, can't lose from here. He leads by more than 2 seconds, which is a most un-low-cost-like gap. It looks like Carl Roysenars then has made it up into second position as we go on to this third and final lap of the race. Tom Gadd getting out of his car. He's out of the race, and what a disappointment for him, having been contending for the victory.
The gap from first to second is the same gap between the next 10 cars, and it's Martin West that's the next car now, because he goes past Cole Rusenhage through the crane of curves into the old hairpin. He carries lots of speed, does West there. There's Paul Clark without the nose cone in 4th position as they climb the hill, as the rest of them through the shot there up towards Swans Curve they come. Here is the battle for second place. Martin West with Cole Rusenhage and Paul Clark as close as they can be as they turn their way through then up towards Coppice Corner. This is the last lap of the race, remember, on the shortened restart. Up towards the Coppice Corner they come. Then it's going to be the big slipstream. I think Cole Rusenhage loses a front mudguard there as he smacked the curbs and I think hit one of the bollards. But here they come, and one of them's got damage. Is that Rusenhage? So he really did hit the curbs as he broke it. Oh, the mudguard's under the wheel, isn't it, or under the tyre? So
that's his hopes over, I think, because there's smoke pouring off that now. He's now come free, so at least he'll be able to bring the car home. He's now down to 4th place. Paul Clark then is up to 3rd place, challenging Martin West now for P2, and that's really what it's all about.
Paul Clark started 35th on the original start,
and he locks up there and he goes deep. So too does Martin West, and Carl Roysenars goes through. Oh, there's contact between Jeff Peake and Martin West, who goes for a spin. Mark Burton might be the one that capitalises on this. The reigning champion. There's more contact in the background. Crikey, you know it's the last race of the day, don't you? Up to Goddard for the final time then, and it is, I think, Tom Robinson that is leading the way out of the final corner. He comes, checkered flag is made ready, and Tom Robinson wins round 2 of the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Locost Championship from Carl Roysenars in 2nd, Paul Clark in 3rd place, Mark Burton is 4th. In 5th place it was the number 29 car of Jeff Peake. 6th was number 74 Gary Brandon, then Greg Smith, James Lewis Barnett, Hobie Vickerman and Sean Brame running out the top 10.
Trevor Faunch you saw there, he'd spun at the Melbourne hairpin. What was I saying about everything calm before the red flag?
Absolutely.
Afterwards, it was absolute mayhem. But I think that was, a lot of that was everybody knew how short the race was. I didn't have any time to sort of wait and strategise. It was full attack mode. And Tom Robinson, who I think you said started on the 5th row of that restart, ended up winning by a full second. And Cole Rusenhage and Paul Clark, who I'm not sure if we've seen Rusenhage on the podium at all before. We've seen Paul Clark once or twice, and both having a really strong race. Yes, I think that may well be Cole Rusenhage's first podium.
Yeah.
As he went down the exhibition straight when his car was falling apart, it didn't look like that was going to happen.
No, well, I think none of the drivers on the first 2 rows of the grid finished inside the top 10 there. Because I don't think Martin West came. He came around in 11th, didn't he? I think he was the first of the top 4 qualifiers on the original grid. Here's a look at the results then. Tom Robinson it was that won by just over a second from Carl Roysenars in 2nd place. Paul Clark was 3rd. Mark Burton, Jeff Peake, Gary Brandon, Greg Smith, James Lewis Barnett, Hobie Vickerman and Sean Brame rounded out the top 10 at the end of a thrilling 3 laps of action. And looking a bit further back down the order, Martin West, as I say, the man that won early on today, finished 11th this time. Then it was Andrew Tate in 12th, Glenn Bloyer 13th, Kevin Straw, Daniel Garrett, he had a 15th position from Jonathan Higgins, Jack Johns, who went backwards from a good grid slot. Rob Fagg did come home in 18th place in the end. Then it was Jonathan Lister and Paul Keynes, a driver switching to this discipline, running out the top 20. Then Ernie Gushlow, Keith Malpas, Stephen Wright, William Ward, Trevor Faunch, Alexander Arntis were the other finishers. Matt Groh also just about made it to the end, but Tom Gadd did not. And of course we had Louis Ward, who also fell off before the restart. So Josh, that brings us to the end of what's been a thrilling, at times a little bit too hectic day's racing here. We've had some tremendous battles, we've had a variety of different winners, we've had a very interesting Club Enduro 2-hour race, which was the centrepiece of the day as well. But all in all, it's been a great day's racing here at Donington Park with the 750 Motor Club. Absolutely.
I think that the earlier low-cost race, the one before lunch, was probably the highlight of the day, wasn't it? With
I agree.
Sort of two pairs of cars all the way through the field in that lead battle. Absolutely extraordinary race in there. The BMWs were really good too. The bike sports, I think, even though the lead, there wasn't a battle for the lead, but some really good racing in the bike sports through the field, and it looks like a much lots more quicker drivers in the Bike Sports Championship in 2019 over last year. We saw MR2s, didn't we? Paul Cook, maybe a bit of a surprise to get 2 wins. Sean Train has been the man to beat over the last few years, and he beat him on both occasions. And as you say, the Club Enduro Championship, very much a race of attrition with the hot weather affecting the top class cars, but lots of new drivers out in Club Enduro this weekend. I think that's going to continue through the year because there were so many people that wanted to get an entry, and they had to get it in early to make sure they get a race. So I'm sure we'll see a great mix of cars throughout the season in the Club Enduro Championship, and I'm sure we'll see some good racing too. There wasn't so much close racing in the Club Enduro Championship, but lots of interesting storylines that we got to look forward to, and it was great to have lots of people commenting on the feeds on YouTube, on Facebook, and we look forward to having everyone back in just about 6 weeks' time at Croft with Alpha Live streaming that. A couple of 750 Motor Club meetings to become before that, but first I think we've got the top 3 hopefully making their way towards the podium. Tom Robinson, Cole Rutenad and Paul Clark, and what's been a bit of a longer day here at Donington Park than perhaps we expected.
Yeah, absolutely. Sun will soon be setting here. Many thanks to Josh for his support on the commentary, and many thanks to, of course, to all of the marshals here at Donington Park who've done such a tremendous job this weekend. It's been a long day, lots of work. The competitors have been keeping them very busy indeed, so many thanks to them, and all of the other officials behind the scenes, the race admin, scrutineers, timekeepers, all of the guys and girls in race control that make these race meetings tick. We couldn't do it without any of them, so many thanks to all of them. As Josh says, I do hope you'll join us for the next time we live stream a 750 Motor Club race meeting. That's at Croft at the beginning of June, but 750 Motor Club's next action, if you want to join it, is at Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time. So just looking down to the far end of the pit lane now to see if we are going to get a word from our top 3 here. I can't actually see that any cars have been stopped down there this time. Not sure if we're going to get any drivers to talk to. What can you see, Josh?
I see Paul Clark's car in the paddock,
right.
So I wonder if the others have gone there too. We saw Paul Clark picking up part of his car, so he probably arrived at a different time to Tom Robinson and Cole Rutenad, but suspect James Winstanley will be the Locost paddock's the other side of the it's all as far away as possible, isn't it? So that might cause...
We're not going to get any drivers back, I don't think, if they have gone into the paddock, so I don't think on that basis we'll get to hear from Jacob Harris again at the end of the day, which is a great shame. But Jacob, down there, Jacob, can you see any drivers in any way near you to talk to?
I'm afraid not. I'm all on my own up here on the podium. They did indeed drive straight into the paddock, so it looks like we're foregoing the podium for this one.
OK, well, thank you very much indeed, Jacob. That brings to an end the live stream from Donington Park here today. Do hope you've enjoyed it.
Wait, hang on. Hang on, I think we've got someone.
You've got someone, but who?
I'm hearing in my ear. We may have one of our top 3. No, false alarm. False alarm.
Right, it was exciting while it lasted. OK, that is the end of the live stream then here at Donington Park. Do hope you've enjoyed it. It's been brought to you by Alpha Live. Thanks to Jacob Harris, Josh Barrett and me, Ian Saban. Wishing you a very good night from Donington Park.